My wife, she was well past 15 weeks when she had to have an abortion. She was miscarrying and bleeding out, and all these things were happening to her.
Her life was in danger.
Her life was in danger. And for the government to say, oh, we need to evaluate this to make sure you're sufficiently dying before you can have an abortion. That's what they're saying.
Well, I think it's fantastic that men are beginning to speak out about this. I think that's something unique that we've seen this time around, how many husbands are speaking out on behalf of their wives. Kudos to Amanda's husband, to Ryan Hamilton, who's also in Texas and spoken out about his wife and what happened to their family. For us at the Seneca Project, you know, we're a bipartisan women-led organization, but we put out an ad on IVF from the dad's perspective, which no one else has done, because we felt it was important to include the voices of men, of those girl dads. And research has shown that that is the most persuadable relationship is between dads and daughters. So the fact that you have men who are natural protectors and want to speak out on behalf of their wives and their daughters, that's incredibly encouraging, and it's powerful, because then you're looking at this from a different perspective, because it doesn't only impact women. Yes, it impacts us directly. It's our lives that are at stake. But it's encouraging for men to speak. Now, Donald Trump and his toxic masculinity and this bro culture that he's running on is really a regressive view of gender dynamics and of the role of families and of men. And I think it's an insult to a lot of men as well to think that's how we view our women. It's insulting. And Donald Trump's not a protector. He's a predator. And women can see that. You know, Elizabeth Cady Stanton said the best protection for a woman is courage. And these women that are speaking out and telling their stories, like Amanda and others, are courageous to do that. And the husbands that are standing with them are also embracing and pushing that courage as well, because there is power and agency in our voices and our stories being told. And the more that people hear those stories and see what the real life consequences are of these Trump abortion bans and of the extremism that MAGA is trying to foist on women, I mean, this is all part of their authoritarian views. This is part of that fascism. This is not democratic. You know, women don't have the option to opt out, okay, of our democracy. We can't just walk away. It's life or death for us. And Ruth Ben-Ghiat, who is a friend of your show, she's on my advisory board at Seneca Project, she wrote a whole chapter into her book, Strongmen, about how women are viewed as enemies of the state under authoritarian regimes. So all these people who seem to think that Donald Trump doesn't mean what he says when he talks about the enemy from within and sticking the military on American citizens and all of these authoritarian fantasies that he has, guess what? Women are part of that enemy from within if they don't acquiesce to the subjugation that MAGA wants to put us in. And it starts with taking away our bodily autonomy and not trusting us to make decisions. It's all wrapped together. And I think Kamala Harris using this as her part of her final message in the final weeks of this election is a really powerful one, because women are being underestimated. And we are ultimately going to save this democracy, because we're going to come out in droves, even those Republican women who need that health care also, because it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is if you're bleeding out in the parking lot of an emergency room or of a hospital in a state that's criminalized women's health care.
Wow.